Hi, this is Ash, and this is a tutorial doing the look that you see. Please like and subscribe if you enjoy my videos at all. Thanks! I start out using this Yate London Wonderland gel kohl liner to blacken out my eyes. I added a little bit of a wing with the liner as well. By the way, I did my brows off camera with L'Oreal Paris Stylist Brow Set and Frame. Now I'm going into the Pretty Vulgar Nightingale palette using the shade All Nighter, and I'm placing that on top of the liner I had put on both of my eyes. I lined the bottom of my eyes as well and used the All Nighter on there too. I went in with the ColourPop Ooh La La eyeshadow palette. I used the shade Sandbar and I started placing that in my crease and blending out the black on my eyes as well. And you basically just blend and blend and blend until your fucking arm can't handle it anymore. I had a hard time with this eyeshadow color. It did become a little bit patchy, so it was pretty annoying. I took Sandbar out very far into my temple area and under my eye. I really wanted a blown out look. And then went back into the Nightingale eyeshadow palette and used the shade All Nighter and started tapping on more black eyeshadow because I had lost too much of the color. I grabbed the brush that had Sandbar on it from the Ooh La La palette and I started buffing out the color some more. And then I took a makeup wipe and cleaned up my edges and where I didn't want any of the eyeshadow and fallout and buffed things out again. I grabbed the Naturally Flawless Liquid Foundation from BH Cosmetics in the shade Ivory and started applying that to my face. I then used that same brush and grabbed the Ciate London Everyday Vacay powder and started adding that to my face to set it. I really like that powder and foundation. They both work amazing. This was the first time I had used either one of them. I then go in with the Ooh La La ColourPop eyeshadow palette and I add the color Poodle to the outer edges of my eyes on the top and the bottom. I realized the next palette I'm going to use is limited edition, so just use any shade of red that you have in any other palette. I end up going into the Live in Color 25 by Morphe that I got during Pride last year, and I used the shade Life. I ended up adding that to my crease area to deepen it up some more, and I wanted more of a red look than a pink look. And then I took my dirty brush that I'd used before, didn't add any product, and started buffing things out some more. Used the Nightingale All Nighter shade and applied that to the black areas to darken those up again as well. And then I took a clean brush and started to buff the black out into the red shade I had added. I applied false lashes using the Kiss glue. I use the Lash Boosting Grande Mascara on my bottom lashes and my falsies. I then grab my Ooh La La ColourPop eyeshadow palette and dip into the shade called Tickled, and I use that as a highlighter for my inner corners of my eyes and to highlight my brow bone as well. I grab the Wet n Wild Color Icon bronzer in the shade Reserve Your Cabana, and I just apply that all over my face. It's a very light shade and kind of just brightens and lightens my face up a little bit. Use that Tickle shade from the Ooh La La palette and added that to my nose and my Cupid's bow and on my cheek area. Use the Color FX palette and I use the shade Sublime, which is the blush color, and I added that to my cheek area. And took the Hank and Henry Stick With It eyeliner pen, and it's in the shade Blickety Black, and started trying to outline the heart. This was a huge struggle. My chest is kind of sensitive, so it started turning red from being messed with. It's definitely much harder drawing on yourself than it is somebody else. I don't normally do my own makeup. After cleaning up my shape a little bit, I went in with the foundation grease paint and the shade black and started outlining my stuff. And then grabbed the bright red foundation grease paint and started coloring in the heart. I then use that same grease paint in black and start shading and darkening up the outline of the heart. I then end up using the dark red in the palette called Smoky by Wet n Wild and start adding that into the heart, trying to add a little bit more depth to the colors. I just randomly placed it, but honestly, I don't think it added much color or change of color. I then went back in with the black and started adding some veins. And then I randomly decided to start shading the outline out. I don't know if I knew what I was doing. I was panicking at this point because I wasn't happy with the way this was looking. I then took a makeup wipe and started cleaning up some of the areas around the heart. And then I went back in with the black and started outlining some of the areas more. And then I took a makeup wipe and cleaned things up some more. By the way, I'm using the same makeup wipe multiple times. I'm not getting new ones. I had taken a thin brush that didn't have any makeup on it and it was clean, and I used it to start removing some of the makeup. It actually helped a lot. And then I went back in with the same black I've been using and outlined some of the areas I had messed up when removing things. I grabbed a thin paintbrush and used that to outline the more difficult and smaller areas to outline, and then went back to using the other brush. And then I went back to adding some veins onto the heart and my chest area. I added all the veins at random. I had no idea or plan. I just started throwing them on. It's like 2 in the morning. I'm tired at this point. I ended up having to remove my tank top because it was in the way of things and I couldn't put it over my shoulders. So I'm sorry if you see too much of my boobs. It is what it is. But yeah, I'm sorry. I ended up using a makeup wipe to remove some of the stuff on my chest I wasn't happy with and clean it up a little bit. I grabbed my thin paint brush and I started adding more veins that were thinner. I end up using the Wet n Wild paint palette that's called Bright, and I started adding blue veins to my chest as well. I also used the bright red grease foundation and added some red veins on my chest too. In person, you could see the colors a little bit better than it's showing up on camera. I then went in with a different brush in the same black that I've been using and started shading the inner outline of the heart. I ended up going into my Live in Color Morphe palette and grabbed the shade Life again, and I added that on top of the paint, the red paint on my chest. Like I said earlier, I know that's a limited edition palette, so just use any red shade that you have that's a true red. I also end up using the shade NYC in that palette. It's just a black, and I went ahead and started adding that to the outer edges of the heart. Please just use any matte black that you have. This one actually has a little bit of shimmer in it, but the shimmer color typically just starts to fall off when you start to blend it out, so I didn't foresee any issues using it, and I didn't have any. I then used my bright red foundation grease paint and added that into the heart as well to try to blend things and add more definition and color to the heart. And use the Wet n Wild paint palette bright again and started adding veins with blue, and I was also using the black foundation grease paint I had, and I didn't like how dark the veins were. You couldn't really see them, so I went in with a clown white and I added white to the veins as well to try to bring them out some more. Again, I just placed these at random. I didn't really do a realistic heart, or this isn't supposed to be realistic, so yeah. I don't end up using the clown white until later in the video. Sorry, I gave information out pre-hand. I also started adding more veins on the outside of the heart. I also end up adjusting the camera several times throughout this video because you couldn't see my face or my chest at the same time. And yeah, so you'll see the camera move soon. Sorry about that. This is where I go in with the clown white because I wanted the veins to pop out a little bit more. You can also see that I'm using a backdrop, not that everybody couldn't tell already. It is what it is, you guys. I really don't care. But I am a little bit sorry about the lack of professionalism. I end up putting the grease foundation that's black on my lips. I don't know if that's actually safe, so don't do what I do. Just grab a black lipstick and use that instead. Or if you know if it's mouth safe, then go ahead and use it. But I have no idea if it really is or not, so yeah. I added a dose of Colors Liquid Lippy in the shade Date Night onto my inner lip as well, because I wanted a dark, blacky, vampy kind of lip. And I just messed around with my lips until I was happy with them. I then started adding veins onto my face using the Wet n Wild paint palette Bright, as well as the black and the bright red grease paints I had used for my heart, and I just threw them on my face wherever no rhyme or reason. I mostly kept them on my cheek area and a little bit on my chin. I kind of wanted the heart to be toxic and to have like the toxicity be flowing up into other areas of my body as well. If you like this video or my not so great makeup look, because I'm really not that happy with this look, please do like and subscribe to my channel and my videos so I continue to make these videos. I'm not sure if I want to continue making them or not at this point. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video a little bit. Bye!